What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday vibes. Welcome to the first edition of Talking to Myself. And I'm your host, Special K, coming at you. Ready for this? Mainly, just a brief overview of everything. Basically, we'll just be talking about basketball. Mainly the NBA, college basketball will be thrown in. Maybe a little WNBA. Don't know too much about it. But I'm learning. We'll talk about that as the show goes on. Right now, mainly, we'll just be talking about the NBA, especially these first few episodes. We'll be talking about, tonight we'll be talking about free agency so far, how that's going, the winners and losers of that so far. We'll talk about the draft. Each team, did they hit their needs, and how they rolling after the draft. We'll take off right now. All right, guys. All right, free agency has been in effect for, I believe, a week now, close to a week. First 2 days, pretty hard hitting. A lot of big contracts out there. Zach LaVine signed a big contract. Jokic in Denver signed a big contract. There's a lot of big contracts. Let's see. One of the biggest moves, trade as well. Throw trades in there. Shout out to my buddy Darrell. Minnesota Timberwolves made a big, huge move. Just threw it all in on Rudy Gobert. 4 draft picks. The draft pick from this year, Walker Kessler. They threw Pat Beverly in that. A couple other players for Rudy Gobert. Man, they're both winners in my book, for real. Both winners on this. We'll start with the Jazz. The Jazz, and you got 5 draft picks. You got 4 picks plus the guy they drafted this year, Walker Kessler, center out of Auburn. Man, that's a good pickup right there. Pretty excited to see how that plays out. Pretty excited to see what they do with these draft picks. Will they keep them? Will they trade them? We're going to find out. As for Minnesota, they definitely did their thing on this. They needed a missing piece, and I believe they got it. I think he's going to fit in quite well. Cat at the 4 is going to be great. I mean, that man really don't play in the post to begin with, so kind of excited to see how that plays out. I think that'll be a great fit for Rudy Gobert. Like to see him and Cat play it. Man, that's a great backcourt, man. The only thing I'm waiting on now, I'm waiting on to see what happens with D'Angelo Russell. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him? My opinion on this is I would trade him. I would get more of a true point guard to fit with Cat and Rudy Gobert, pick and roll. Then you got Anthony Edwards. You really don't need another ball handler like Russell, you know what I mean? Shooting the ball and all that. So I trade him. I get a true point guard. You can still find one in the free agency. I try to even get maybe a decent backup point guard for D'Angelo Russell, maybe a couple second rounders, and see what works out with that. But definitely both winners in my book for sure. Another winner so far. I'm going to go with the Lakers on this. Lakers, and I say they're a winner on this only because of the situation they're in. And it's a hard situation. You don't have a lot of room to work with all those contracts over there. You know, you got LeBron, AD, Westbrook. I'll get on AD and Westbrook here in a second. But the moves they made so far, I liked them. I like Juan Toscano Anderson from Golden State Warriors. He was a good piece. He wasn't a big piece, but he was a good piece. I think he'll be a good role player coming off the bench for us. And excited to see how that plays out. We got Damian Jones back at the 5. I know the Lakers have been trying to get him back for a while, so I'm excited to see that. Definitely needed a 5. I don't see Dwight coming back. We got rid of DeAndre Jordan halfway through the year. JaVale McGee signed that big contract in Dallas, so he's definitely not coming back. I was hoping he would, but we'll see. Lonnie Walker, that's a good move. I like that. Nice, solid player. I think you can throw him in a starting rotation if you have to. If you play Braun at the 4, you can put him at the 3. But I think he'd be a good 6-man coming off the bench to run that second unit. Let's see. Also, I'm gonna jump just a little bit. The draft. They got Max Christie in the second round, 35th pick. That was a good move. But I want to focus on undrafted free agents. I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is going to be a bigger pickup than what we imagined. One of the top scorers in college basketball last year. I'm very, very excited to see how that plays out. I think he's at least a year away, maybe 2, to actually becoming a decent player in the league. Time will tell on that. Sharif, I wish the best for him, man. I really hope this works out. But he is a long way away to being on the team. We'll see what he does in the G League if he can get there. Very excited to see how that plays out. Huff, big man. I like that. I think he can be a good player off the bench if he's on the G League this year. Now, a player that he's not a free agent, but he signed at the end of the year. Mac McClung, watch out for this guy. I said it last year. I've been saying it since this kid was in high school. Watch out for this guy. This guy is going to be a superstar in the league. I said it. He's going to be a superstar in the league. Mac McClung, y'all watch out for him, man. He just keeps getting better and better. I believe he'll be in the dunk contest this year. Probably won't get too many minutes, but I think that dunk contest will put his name out there even more. And we'll see what he's got coming off the bench. Don't know how many more moves they're going to make. As for trades and stuff, man, that's very hard. You got the whole Kyrie, KD situation going on right now. I wouldn't bet on any of that. Who knows what could happen? Got some ideas, but man, we're a little bit away of talking about that. But as for Westbrook and AD, it's a tough situation, man. But I think you got to move on from one of those players. My opinion on it is I would move away from AD. Last year, I watch a lot of outside stuff, not just basketball. I watch how people behave. LeBron obviously has changed a lot, especially these last couple of years. He's talking a lot more. He's not that, with all due respect, outside of basketball, he used to not say much about opinions when it came to basketball. The man was very quiet and got to business. When playoff time came down, social media, blackout. That man was locked in. He still locked in, don't get me wrong. LeBron James, my favorite player of all time, grew up watching him. But he in that phase of life, he's not what he used to be. And that's all right. We'll see what he can do. But AD, man, he got very comfortable last season, was hurt a lot. Of course, he got comfortable last season, man. I remember watching the first game of the year. I'm sorry, getting hooked on the Lakers, man. Big Lakers fan. But I remember watching the first game of the year I remember pausing the game, and some of the rotational pieces were in. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, man. You literally got 5 Hall of Famers on the court right now playing basketball. It was just a beautiful thing. So yeah, I get comfortable with that too. I have all the confidence in the world. Might be a little cocky, who knows? But I definitely I think it'd be hard to move him, but I definitely trade him. I don't know if you can get KD or Kyrie for that. Definitely have to throw in some picks for that. Now, man, Lakers stop giving up picks. But I definitely move on from AD. Not just injury prone, man. Haven't picked up a basketball. Come on, man. This is a big season for y'all. Gotta pick up that basketball. So I'm ready to move on from AD. I think you gotta move on from one of those guys, and him and Westbrook. So I move on from AD, and I don't think Westbrook is done. He had a bad year. Couldn't fit in. Okay? Give it more than 1 year. Let him fit in. I think it'll work out. I think it'll work out for sure. Let's see, another team. Winner on this. I'm going to go 50-50 winner and loser on this. Atlanta Hawks, man. And I say 50-50 on that because I do like the DeJounte Murray trade. I do. I really do. But, man, who are you going to put at the 1? Who are you going to put at the 2? And I got a little deja vu saying this because I remember a few years ago there was a trade between Houston and Los Angeles Clippers. That's when the Houston Rockets got Chris Paul. And I don't know if any of y'all remember, but everybody was talking about, man, him and Harden are not going to fit together. You know, Harden at that point was he would have started his 3rd year at point guard if Chris Paul didn't move on. So he had two full years at the point. Chris Paul was coming over. Everybody's like, man, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. It worked out. It worked out. It worked out and some. If Chris Paul didn't pull that hammy, man, game 6, I believe, they would have beat the Warriors. Yeah, I see what Draymond said about that. I'm getting off topic a little bit. But I saw what Draymond said about that most recently, actually, that there's no way the Rockets could have beat them, even if they didn't have KD. We would have beat you with KD, just to let you know, Draymond. We definitely would. Definitely would have. But it didn't happen, so that's what it is. But back to what I was saying. Very similar situation. Is it going to work out? Is it not? 50-50 right now. I mean, both great players. Trey had him on my fantasy team this year. Balled out. I mean, one of the best this past season in offense on the point guard side. But man, he was a liability on the defensive side. I think, man, he had at least 4 turnovers every game. I just remember looking at the stats and I'm like, man, you have all these points, but why only have this in fantasy points? So very tough to where to put him at. Be hard to move him to the 2 on that. But they're both great ball handlers, man. I just very, very excited to see what Atlanta decides to do with both of those guys. If it works out, you know, they're already one of the top teams in the East, and they'll just keep moving up. So I'm excited. You know, they made the move just like Minnesota did. It was a big move and something they took a chance on. So I'm excited to see how that works out for them. Let's see. We'll go with Chicago right now. Chicago's been a little quiet. We signed Zach LaVine to that max deal. I'm glad he stayed in Chicago. He's made a name for himself there in Chicago, and I think he deserves to stay there as long as he can, and hopefully bring a championship back to Chicago. Lonzo's coming off of an injury. Big Lonzo and LaMelo, and big ball fan. I seen the show, watched them all since high school, so I'm excited to see Lonzo back on that court for sure. They signed Andre Drummond to a contract, and it hasn't made that much noise. Actually, I didn't get no notification on it, but I popped up on it, and I'm like, man, that is a quiet move that is going to be great. I mean, when you got Lonzo and Zach, and then you got DeRozan. You can't forget DeRozan had an incredible, probably one of the best years of his career last year. You got Patrick Williams coming back from injury. Excited to see that. And, man, not only you got Andre, you got Vucevic. And if I butcher your name, I apologize about that. If you have to, especially if Patrick Williams is not fully healthy, he can come off the bench as well. You can move Vucevic to the 4, put Drummond at the 5, or have Drummond come off the bench. Either way, I think that will work out. So definitely winners so far. Not a lot of moves so far. So I'm excited to see what they keep doing. They're definitely in the right direction. Definitely need some role players. You got Caruso coming back too. You can't count that man out. He's a champion. Any of these guys coming to the teams or they've been on teams for a year, the teams that haven't won a championship, but these guys have championship experience, man. It's just a big thing because they know what it takes to win. And I'm not just talking basketball, man. When it comes to what it takes to win, it's so much more than just basketball. You have to. I don't know if you all remember back in the Miami days with LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh, but man, they used to take trips every summer, and they work out together, just like have their own little camp, and it's just that's how you bond, man. You gotta bond because you don't like each other. You're not gonna win the championship. You're not gonna get there. It's just a lot of teamwork. It's a lot of individual work. There's a lot that is put into winning a championship. And so I'm excited to see what Chicago can do. I think they should add a couple more role players. If you can find another 4 in free agency, who knows? You might be able to get Miles Bridges for cheap if he's allowed to play again. So who knows on that right now? That just happened. Not going to talk on that too much right now, but we'll see what else comes up of it. But yeah, you could get him cheap. If you need another 4, you can get a good 4 out there in the free agency or make a trade and still start Patrick Williams. I mean, if you got another guy coming off the bench, that second team is just going to be great. So excited to see what happens with that. I'm going to jump over to Florida in Orlando. I'm going to give them 2 grades right here. I'm going to give them, for right now, this year, I think they still got a lot to figure out. So, not the best so far, but they got a lot to figure out. They got a lot of players, a lot of young players that they're still trying to weed out, like, who are the guys that are going to make this team great. Like, they got all these 1s and 2s, man, and I know why they're trying to figure out who are guys. Markelle, and I don't think he's going to be that guy. I think he's going to be gone at some point. You got Cole Anthony. I think that's the guy right there at 1, for sure. You drafted Jalen Suggs last year. Great pickup. I was hoping Houston would pick him up, but they didn't. Him at the 2, I think that's their 2 moving forward for sure. I do like, he doesn't get talked enough about it. I think he's dealt with some injuries, but R.J. Hampton, man, that was a great pickup in that trade for Aaron Gordon. So I'm excited what he can do now in year 3, coming off the bench. He's a great player, great in high school, great over in the NBL. So I'm excited to see what happens with RJ. Franz Wagner had a great year last year. There's your three right there. You drafted Paulo and just signed Bol in free agency. Kind of happy about that. That's a good move. He's working on his three-point shot, his jump shot. It's coming together. I mean, you have a big guy like that just doing it all. I mean, even coming off the bench, man, that'd be great. So him and Paulo at the 4, that's just definitely happy about that. You can also put him at the 5 with Wendell Carter Jr., very young. These are all young guys. I still think they're at least a year away, but don't be surprised if these guys make it in the play-in and the playoffs this year. Either one. They would get the 8 seed, or they go to the 8 or 7 seed, and I'm jumping up a little bit, or at least making the play-in and seeing what their guys are about. Because I just see a lot of, if they can get it right and they can get their team together, I see a lot of Golden State down there in Orlando. And I've been saying that for, I think, 2 years now. They're trying real hard. I think they're close. I think they're real close. I know people were surprised by that move with Paolo Banchero at number 1 and not Jabari or Chet. And let me tell you, I think all 3 guys are great. Just love watching all 3 guys ball out, for sure. But if I was Orlando, I think you made the right move. I think Paulo is going to have a great career in this league. He's a shooter. He can post up. I'm really excited. Chet, love Chet. Love seeing him ball out. But you never know what's going to happen with him. Could be a bust. Could be one of the best players to ever play. Who knows? I think he'll be a good player in this league. But there's a lot of what-ifs, And there's still what-ifs with Paulo, but I think he was the, for sure, locked-in one. And Jabari, too. Jabari's a great pick. Really surprised I didn't pick him. Sort of, kind of. I mean, you didn't really have to. I mean, you already got your 3, so you have to move him to the 4, move Franz to the 4. So I think they really nailed it with Banchero. Since we're on that, we'll just go ahead and jump to the draft real quick. We'll talk about number 2 with Chet Holmgren, man. Let's talk about Oklahoma City right now, man, because I think they did their thing, dog. I think they did their absolute thing in this draft, man. They got Gang from New York at 11. They traded for him, and then they had the 12th pick and got one of the Jalen Williams and got another Jalen Williams in the second round. Also got Chet. You got Shai over there or Shea over there at 1 on the 1. Back when that Paul George trade, great move for sure. At the 2, Giddey, second year. And these guys are all young, man. It's going to take at least another 2-3 years at least to see what these guys can do. Haven't watched a lot of, I'm not going to butcher his name, Pajeski is the other big guy down there. He'll be down there with Chet. You need to get some role players, some veteran guys to play with those guys. I really like to see Dennis Schroeder as a free agent. He had his best year over there in Oklahoma City, so I'm hoping he can sign back, get that veteran backup point guard, and he's still searching for the big contracts out there. So maybe if he comes back for a year in Oklahoma City, he can get him a big one, or maybe a big one in Oklahoma City, and help them guys get back to a championship way. But they're definitely on the right track for sure. All young guys, but man, they about